Hey everyone, welcome back. If you've been anywhere near WNBA Twitter this week, you already know something. The league has another controversy on its hands, and this one isn't fading away quietly. It started with a fist to the throat, and it's turned into a full-blown argument about officiating, fairness, and whether the WNBA is doing enough to protect its biggest star. Let's walk through exactly what happened, because the details matter here. The game that started it all on Wednesday night, the Indiana Fever hosted the Fever-Mercury at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, and the Mercury came away with a tight 111-109 win. But the score is almost beside the point. What everyone's talking about happened in the second quarter, with about 7 minutes left. Caitlin Clark drove into the lane, got tangled up with defender Lexi Held, and went down to the floor. As players scrambled for the loose ball, Phoenix forward Alyssa Thomas dropped down near Clark. Replays showed Thomas's fist making contact with Clark's neck while Clark was still on the ground. CBS Sports Thomas then got up and stepped over Clark. ESPN, no whistle, no foul call. Play continued like nothing happened. That's the part that lit the fuse. Fever head coach Stephanie White said afterward that she was more surprised the officials didn't catch it live than anything else, suggesting the referee's attention was locked onto the ball instead of the players on the floor. ESPN? She didn't hold back in her press conference either, calling the no call egregious and utterly disrespectful. CBS Sports? She also referenced an earlier incident from earlier in the same sequence of games, saying Clark had taken what she considered two separate cheap shots that went uncalled. CBS Sports? Clark herself didn't finish the game. She checked out with about 5 minutes left in the third quarter and didn't return, finishing with 19 points and 8 assists in only 20 minutes of action. CBS Sports? That outing also snapped a personal streak. She'd put up at least 20 points and 5 assists in 6 straight games before that night. CBS Sports? The Fever later confirmed it was a back issue keeping her out, and as of this weekend, she's officially set to sit out Saturday's game against the Los Angeles Sparks while the team manages her recovery. The league steps in, so here's where it gets interesting. Less than 24 hours after the game, the WNBA reviewed the play and changed its ruling. The league announced that Thomas had been given a Flagrant Foul 2 penalty for recklessly making contact with her fist to the throat area of Caitlin Clark. Yahoo Sports, and on top of that, hit her with a 1-game suspension. The league's official explanation, word for word in spirit, was that Thomas had committed a non-basketball act. College Sports Network, which is about as serious a label as the WNBA puts on a play like this. Thomas will serve her suspension this Saturday, June 27, when the Mercury take on the Toronto Tempo, CBS News, meaning she'll be sidelined for that game just as Clark is also expected to be out for the Fever's matchup with the Sparks. Fever President Kelly Crosskopf released a statement after the ruling, saying simply that player safety should be the league's top priority and that the organization appreciated the WNBA taking the incident seriously. CBS News? Now, you'd think a suspension and a flagrant 2 designation would settle things down. It didn't. If anything, it poured gasoline on a fire that was already burning. Why one game wasn't enough for a lot of fans almost immediately, the reaction split into 2 camps, but the loudest voice by far was outrage that the punishment was too light. Veteran sports journalist Christine Brennan, who literally wrote a book about Clark's impact on women's sports, posted that a 1-game suspension, with no real accountability for the officials who missed the call live, amounted to a weak response to what she sees as a much bigger problem inside the league. Yahoo Sports fans piled on in the replies to the league's own announcement. Some pointed out that nobody breaks a fall by driving a closed fist into someone's neck, and argued the contact looked intentional rather than incidental. Others said a single game wasn't close to proportionate given how violent the replay looked in slow motion. A handful of posts went further, with one person saying they hoped Clark would pursue legal action against the league, the commissioner, and any player who'd made hard contact with her over the past 2 seasons. It wasn't only fans either. Sports commentary shows picked up the story almost instantly. One pair of analysts discussing the situation on a sports talk show acknowledged the play deserved real scrutiny, noting that it looked unremarkable at full speed, but turned into something much more serious once you slowed it down and viewed it from a different camera angle. They agreed the suspension itself was justified, but disagreed on whether 1 game was anywhere near enough. The clapping tech that made everything worse this whole situation didn't come out of nowhere. Just 2 days before the Thomas incident, in the Fever's win over the Mercury, Clark picked up her 5th technical foul of the season, and the reason was almost as controversial as the foul itself. Officials gave her the tech for clapping toward Phoenix players following a tense exchange with former teammate DeWanna Bonner. Sports Illustrated, the Fever appealed it. The league said no, confirming on Thursday that the technical would stand, which put Clark at 5 techs for the season, just 3 away from an automatic 1-game suspension under league rules. Sports Illustrated, Clark didn't hide her frustration about it afterward. She told reporters something close to, "We might as well mark the calendar now for whichever game I get suspended for clapping," because she said she intends to keep playing with the same emotion regardless of what officials decide to call. Even Dallas Wings star Paige Buchers, who'd had her own clapping technical rescinded earlier in the season, joked publicly that clapping had basically become a line she now avoids, half seriously saying she doesn't want to keep losing money over it. That detail mattered a lot to the online conversation, because it became Exhibit A for fans arguing there's a pattern of inconsistent or overly harsh officiating specifically around Clark, getting flagged for something as harmless as clapping just days before getting hit in the throat with no call at all. The boycott talk by Thursday, the conversation had shifted from, "Is the punishment fair?" to "What are we going to do about it?" A wave of fans started talking openly about boycotting WNBA games that don't involve the Fever, and some said they're done watching the league altogether until they see real change in how Clark is officiated. The boycott sentiment actually disrupted the league's own marketing. The WNBA tried to promote its Thursday night doubleheader, Dallas against Las Vegas and Seattle against New York, and instead of any discussion about those games, the replies were flooded with comments about Clark. One fan wrote that Fever and Clark supporters should boycott every non-Fever game through August. Another argued the league can't afford to lose viewership given how much it's expanding right now, and that fans need to use that leverage until officiating becomes more consistent. A third, more cutting comment asked the league directly whether the plan was to keep letting players hit Clark until the franchise goes bankrupt. That sentiment carried straight into the lead-up to Saturday's Fever Sparks Game 2. Fans posted lines like vowing not to watch a single game until Clark is back on the floor. This incident just turned that simmering frustration into a full boil. What do you think? Was one game enough? Or is the league still not taking this seriously? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you found this rundown helpful, like and subscribe for more. I'll see you in the next one.
Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a video.